Hey everybody, I want to welcome you to the Oculus that is right here outside of One World Trade Center. Now the Oculus is massive. It acts as a mall, there's restaurants, there's places to eat, coffee shops, but you could also get the PATH train to New Jersey. You could also take the one train, get multiple subway lines, and if you continue to walk all the way down this corridor, this is going to take you on the other side of the West Side Highway to Brookfield Place, which is another sort of like big retail shopping center that's also connected to a lot of the office buildings on the west side of Manhattan and West Street. So we're going to be walking up and out of the Oculus here, and we're going to be doing a full tour of One World Trade Center, the surrounding neighborhoods all the way up into Tribeca. And the architect on the building really wanted it to resemble the wings of a dove. So as we head outside and look at the architectural structure from across the street, you'll kind of notice the resemblance of a dove. They always have something going on here, either an art exhibit. During the holidays, they have so much stuff. But it acts as a major transit hub. So this is the very east side of the building. You can get the A, C, 2, 3, J, Z, 4, 5, R, and W trains. You could also get the E. You can connect to the E. And then on the westmost side of the station, you can get the PATH train out to New Jersey. If you're visiting New York City in the winter and you're in Lower Manhattan exploring this neighborhood, this is a really good area to come because you can pretty much spend the whole day here walking around, checking out all the shops. There's 3 levels of retail and shopping. You have an Apple store here. And again, if you walk all the way past the PATH train entrance to New Jersey, that'll take you to the very famous Brookfield Place. And that has even more restaurants, more shopping, and really stunning views if you want to catch a crazy sunset. You could eat at some of the restaurants that overlook the Hudson River and all of Hoboken, New Jersey. And you have really, spectacular sunsets. The retail even goes all the way down here too. And even though this is an underground mall, it gets tons of natural light to these huge skylights here. This is the one train entrance for Uptown in the Bronx. is the balcony level. You'll be able to see all the way back to the west side. Walk up the stairs to Greenwich Street. And now we are outside right at the 9/11 Memorial, as well as the World Trade Center. So once you enter on the Greenwich side, Greenwich Street, you'll see the main two reflecting pools at the 9/11 Memorial. But to quickly turn around and give you a view of the Oculus, you can kind of see what they were talking about with the architecture resembling a dove or a dove's wings. If you see that big glass building all the way over there with the dome, that's Brookfield Place. So you can walk underneath the West Side Highway and West Street, so you don't have to be exposed to the elements. And it'll connect you to those main office buildings over there as well. This is one of the main reflecting pools. It is winter still, it's March, so you're not gonna have the fountains on, but still a really nice place to come visit. This is the brand new Performing Arts Center that just opened. This opened about 60 days ago. And it sits right at the base of One World Trade Center, the brand new Performing Arts Center. And right behind this is BMCC, Borough of Manhattan Community College, which is in the CUNY system, or the City University of New York. There's two main, I should say, college education systems in New York State. Number one, you have SUNY, which is SUNY, which stands for State University of New York. And then you also have CUNY, CUNY, which stands for City University of New York. So we're now walking west We're coming up on West Street. And this is pretty much as far west as you can go before you hit the Hudson River. I'd really recommend coming here during the spring and in the summer, particularly at sunset. You can find any restaurant you want at Brookfield Place, grab a table overlooking the Hudson River, and you have amazing views of not only Hoboken, New Jersey, but you can see direct views of the Statue of Liberty as well during sunset. This big glass building right here is 200 West Street, and that is the headquarters of Goldman Sachs. It's a little bit windy on the west side, so we're not going to cross the street. I'll just show you. That is the main entrance of Brookfield Place. That's really the one negative side of being in Lower Manhattan in the winter. I mean, the wind is crazy almost every single day. There's another beautiful view of the reflecting pool. And this structure right here is the 9/11 Memorial Museum. Right here. It sits in between the north and the south reflecting pool. And those are the memorial pools where the World Trade Centers used to sit. Tower 1 and Tower 2. Turn the camera a little bit to the north, you're going to be looking into the Tribeca neighborhood of Manhattan. This building is the Jenga building, very famous building. You can kind of tell when you're in Tribeca. Just look up if you can see that building. You're there. You're going to walk up Fulton Street to Fulton Street Center, which is one of the newest, I should say, totally renovated subway stations. But again, looking north, this street kind of splits. So this is the west side of Manhattan. You can see the edge at the Hudson Yards. And if you look right here, you can see 1 Vanderbilt and 270 Park Avenue. If we zoom in. So that'll give you a perspective of where you are on the island of Manhattan. So this is the east side, that is the west side. You can see 1 Vanderbilt to the right, and to the left you see all of the Hudson Yards development. On the easternmost side of the Oculus, you're going to see the Millennium Hotel, which is a very popular hotel in Lower Manhattan. It has great views of the World Trade Center. We are now approaching Church Street. If you make a right, that's going to take you deeper into Lower Manhattan, into Battery Park. But today we're going to make a left and head up into Tribeca. So if you're following along on Google Maps, just go to Fulton Street and Church Street. You'll see the Oculus right here to the right. Now if you continue to walk all the way down here, you're going to run into Zuccotti Park. And if you continue even further past that, you'll run into Battery Park. And if you make a left here, you run into Wall Street, Trinity Church, 1 Wall Street, and the New York Stock Exchange. We are going to head straight up here and head northbound. Now, the further we walk up, the closer we are going to get to Canal Street. And Canal Street really splits the island of Manhattan. If you go all the way to the left, so all the way to the west-hand side on Canal, it'll run you into the tunnel, where you can take that out to New Jersey. But if you keep going east, it'll run you all the way through Chinatown, through Little Italy, and bring you directly to the Manhattan Bridge. So we'll see that here in a moment. Just give you one more shot of the World Trade Center. Just off to the right here, everybody, you're going to have the Four Seasons Hotel on Barclay Street. And you also have a very famous restaurant called Cut by Wolfgang Puck. It's a really nice steakhouse, very expensive, but here you have it. So the Four Seasons Hotel in New York City is right on the corner of Barclay Street and Church Street. You're going to notice a distinct change in architecture, particularly as we head up into Soho. But even Tribeca still has a lot of the pre-war buildings. You're starting to see a lot of new construction going up. These glass-encased, luxury condos. But you still have a lot of nice pre-war with the cast iron facades and fire escapes. Coming up on the Chambers Street subway entrance into the ACE trains, also the 2 and 3.
How they do everything?
They run
They don't.
the black version of that whole program. Like
This is Murray Street. You can kind of see what I'm talking about by those beautiful pre-war buildings with all those nice fire escapes. I think it adds a lot of character to the neighborhood. You have a lot of diversity and choice in New York City, depending on where you want to live. If you want to live in a new development building that's a super tall in a high rise, cased in glass with all these amenities, you can absolutely do that. But you can still find a lot of renovated and refurbished pre-war buildings as well. This is Birch Coffee. There's a lot of locations throughout Manhattan. This is actually very good coffee. I usually go to the one inside the Moynihan train hall. corner of Chamber Street and Church. Pay attention to the architectural detail here on the Carey building. This is 105 Chamber Street. Blocks away from Canal Street. And you can really see the wind picking up now. Sometimes Canal Street acts as like a wind tunnel. Corner of Thomas Street and Church. I'm sure you're familiar with this building here. The very famous building with no windows. Many people believe that the NSA uses this. Ever been to Chicago? You've probably seen that very famous bean. Well, we now have one in New York City too. It's right outside of the Jenga building on Leonard. You'll be able to see it here in just a moment. Looking down Worth Street, you're going to see this big glass high-rise that is 1 Manhattan Square. It is a luxury condominium development that was built by Extel. Now, Extel is a developer that also did 157 or 157 West 57th Street, as well as Central Park Tower on New York City's Billionaires Row. And they also have an exciting new development going up on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, which we'll walk past in another video. But here it is, 5 Leonard. So on one side you have this brand new architecture covered in all glass. Then you have a lot of the old pre-war with those solid cast iron facades and fire escapes. It's a really interesting neighborhood. Here's one more look at the Bean again. Again, this is 56 Leonard. 56 Leonard. The next street is Franklin Street. There's a really interesting building that's right off of Franklin Street. It is called 5 Franklin Place. You can look it up on Google or Street Easy. And it's a very bespoke luxury condo. It was built in 2015. It has about 54 units in the entire building, and it spans 19 stories. And it's on a private street. So not to be confused with Franklin Street, it is Franklin Place. And the facade of the building can actually open up. And it acts as a car elevator. So if you own a unit in the building, you can purchase a parking space for around $300,000. And the vehicle elevator will park your car for you. And the building is right off of Franklin Street. We'll take a look once the light changes. You can see amazing views all the way to the Empire State Building, as well as the Steinway Tower. We'll zoom in. So there you have it. You can see an unobstructed view of the Empire State Building. And just to the left of the Empire is 111 West 57th Street. It's called Steinway Tower. And that is the skinniest residential apartment building in the entire world. Check out how gorgeous a lot of these buildings are on Franklin Street. I mean, just take a look at some of the architectural integrity of the facades. You have those beautiful fire escapes. I mean, this Tribeca looks absolutely beautiful, particularly during sunset in the summer. Right? Imagine that, you know, reddish hue from the sun reflecting off these cast iron facades. It's a really magical place to live. Very tucked away, just off to your left. If you weren't from the neighborhood or if you don't live here, you would probably miss it, honestly. This is Franklin Place. This is a private street secluded to 5 Franklin. So you can see it says private driveway, do not enter. So here it is, 5 Franklin Place. You're gonna have these beautiful Belgian block streets. Now the listing that we have up is apartment 8A at 5 Franklin Place. It's a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bathroom apartment. Here's the facade of the building. Now right here, this opens up. So if you have a vehicle, you could drive it directly onto the elevator platform and it'll take it underground and park it for you. So if you're looking for someplace very secluded and quiet, nobody would even know you kind of live here. Nobody would even know there's a building here. It's so private. You're not gonna have any through traffic. Very beautiful and unique building. And then if you keep walking to the north, this will be White Street. And this is some of my, I would say, my favorite collections of these cast iron facades in the city. I mean, look at these. Most of these buildings are protected by the city, which means you're not allowed to demo them. If anything, the developers need to refurbish the facades. You can see it right here, 55 White Street, 1861. These buildings are pretty much indestructible. I mean, a massive cast iron facade like that. Look at this. this is going to bring us back to Church Street, and we're going to make a right on Church and walk 2 more blocks, and that is going to bring us to Canal Street. So just remember, if you're on Canal, right, if you're visiting the city, if you continue to walk east, that's going to bring you toward the Manhattan Bridge. There's also the Roxy Hotel. But if you continue to walk west, that's going to bring you to the tunnel that will take you all the way out to New Jersey. So just remember, if you want to go to Chinatown or Little Italy, the easiest way to kind of remember how to navigate is if you're on Canal Street, you want to go to Chinatown or Little Italy, just navigate east and you'll run right into it. You can't miss it. We have it. We've officially made it to Canal Street. You'll notice a lot of vendors selling things on the street. It's what it's really famous for. A lot of it is counterfeit, kind of knockoff items, but now this is looking north towards Soho. This is a big fashion design district here. Tons of shopping. But the main sort of section of Soho is off of Broadway.
Knock your black ass back there. Wherever you motherfucking from. You need to get back there anyway.
Now in Soho, you're gonna have a lot of these beautiful streets that have these Belgian block or cobblestone streets, and that's just north of Canal. Okay, we're coming up on Canal Street Station, the NQR&W. If you walk a little bit further, you can also get the 6 train. And once once you cross the east side of Broadway, headed this way, you can see Chinatown. You're pretty much right in it. And then if you cross north, you'll be in Little Italy. And here we are, sort of the main start of Soho. Okay, if you enjoyed this walking tour from Lower Manhattan, the Oculus, up through Church Street and Tribeca, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe for more walking tours of New York City. Thanks so much for joining.